Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of creating the profile here. So let's say, again, you're a graphic designer. So let's go into here and let's click basically the most general one, but we can check more. And what we were saying earlier is what are some skills that you can maybe take on that will help you check more boxes? So if you're starting out as presentation design, could you learn how to illustrate? Could you start to watch, maybe some YouTube channels on learning how to draw or learning how to use Illustrator more? Could you learn possibly how to incorporate audio or music production like into your art? And maybe that's some type of like skill stack that you can add. Or maybe, this is a pretty obvious one. If you do know graphic design, like you probably will already know branding and logo design, and that's going to help spread your reach out. Now, this is a good thing to go over here because this is trendy, and I think this goes with the idea of like, are you doing things that are relevant right now? And I can tell you last year, there was just like so much demand and designers that know how to create NFTs and stuff like that. And that those types of trends and even NFTs, I mean, they're not going to go anywhere. So you applying your brain to learning about that, I mean, everybody's basically just starting off from a zero place with NFTs. And now you have an opportunity to have a better understanding than 99% of the people out there. So you can start to position yourself as an expert, which is what we were talking about earlier on when like, those are the best people starting out on Upwork that are going to have the best chances of getting work. The experts coming in and being able to leverage that wisdom, that experience. That's what clients are paying for. So you do want to check as many boxes. Like let's again say that you really want to take your graphic design to a next level. Well, maybe you can start to incorporate that into product design and converting from the digital realm into the more physical product space. And what I found too is like designers, people that are good at Photoshop can also be good at, say, Premiere Pro and these other platforms that are similar in builds, but now you can do video and now you can do animation. And so the goal for, I'd say, this community is to check more boxes, right? I'm not saying be a jack of all trades, but I'm saying be a master of a lot of different things, and it's doable. You don't need to limit yourself by one skill these days. I think you can combine skill sets, and that's where really you're going to have the ability to multiply your hourly rates and outcompete most of the other freelancers that are bidding on the jobs that you're bidding on. So check as many boxes as possible here, guys. And again, if you're not checking up as many boxes, you have to invest some time into yourself and upskill. And now comes the fun part, where we set our hourly rate. So, of course, clients are going to see this if you choose to publish it. You can make it private if you want to, but I suggest that you put it out there because this is going to kind of fit into the way you're operating, and you need to operate like a small business. And the way it best serves you, especially when the negotiation is occurring, is to keep constantly increasing your hourly rate. So you want to start off at a rate that's pretty low, gets you in the door. But as you progress, as you get clients, reviews, this, that, your portfolio builds, skills, it's going to keep progressing. Because what you don't want to do is start vacillating at, start out at a ridiculous rate that maybe you earned once and blah, blah, blah. Like you need to maybe check your ego a little bit if you are coming to the table as an expert. But if you are coming to the table as someone that like is low-tiered skill, meaning like something you can like anybody that can do, you can learn in a couple of days, there are a lot of jobs and opportunities out there for that you can set your hourly rate pretty low, sneak in, and then keep acquiring skills and then up it. Whatever path that you're on, the idea should still be to have the trajectory of increase only and never down, because the last thing you want to do is get into a haggle match with clients, seeing that like some jobs you take for $50 an hour, some jobs you take for 30, some jobs you take for 80, because they're going to want to negotiate. The idea here is, the freelance king never negotiates, okay? I never get put in a position where they're like, hook me up with this deal, because those are the worst clients to work with. A little advice for you. If they start haggling hard like that, just walk away. Maybe not so much in the beginning because you need that review, but when you establish yourself, you'll learn how to walk a lot quicker. So back to the hourly rate here. I think at the end of the day, two things need to be true. You need to first and foremost be excited about your rate, guys. Like, here you are as a freelancer on your own, and for the first time possibly, and this was the case for me, for the first time, you could pay yourself the hourly rate that you want, and it's just like, wow, I want to give myself, this much. This would be great. And so I got on the system at $45 an hour. Again, I came with some pretty good skill sets. I was only making like $15 an hour when I owned my restaurants. I think I was telling you guys, but so I was excited about the $45 an hour. As I'm probably sure if you're watching this that 45 is not bad, but again, the idea was to keep increasing it. I do think, unless you are trying to be the freelancer that's going to make the client money, it's going to be hard sometimes to tell them an ROI, like if you spend 50, you'll get 100 type of thing. So, most of the time, especially early on, you're going to also want, remember, two things need to be true. First thing, you need to be excited, but the second thing is it needs to be reasonable. And you need to be honest with yourself. Like, what is my skill set? What am I bringing to the table? And is it worth it for the client? Because again, you have to put yourself into the client's perspective. Like, is it worth it? Will they be confident in me? And the problem with when you start out is the confidence is very low, no reviews yet. You can later, I'll show you how to invite people to make reviews if you worked somewhere else, but 9 times out of 10, people don't come to the table with reviews. So you have to, it's all a risk assessment. So you have to be at a rate that's less risky for the client, especially early on. So I would probably put this, somewhere in the 15 to 25 range, depending on what you do. But I think that at 15, it gives you some seriousness. And I think that for people that know what they're doing a little more, in that 25 range for an expert, clients will feel like that's a deal. And again, this is the first one. So I'm not saying leave it like this forever. I'm saying get that first job, knock it out of the park, and know that the review will allow you to give yourself a raise, because that's how I gamify a lot of what I do on the system is I incrementally increase it. I give myself a raise every time I have a successfully completed project, or I learn more things. So it's like an attaboy. So yeah, I would probably put it somewhere low. Everything's standardized with the 10% these days. There's not a sliding scale. So that's some new information that just dropped a few months ago. It used to be a sliding scale. We're not even going to talk about that anymore. It's 10%. And this helps, the 10%, guys, if you're the type of freelancer that's going to scoff at this, can't believe I'm paying these guys 10%. The idea is for them to feed you work. And just like any other founder's fee would be 15% if you were hiring a sales team or doing affiliates, it would be even more than 15%. But they're lining up this work for you. And to scoff at the idea of maybe giving a 10% cut back to them, I think it's very short-sighted, especially because, look, I'm going to show you guys a magic trick. Ready? If you want that service fee to be free, you can just incorporate the 10% right in to your fees and then some. So instead of 15, let's just call it 17. So instead of you getting less per 15 per hour after the fees, just make it 17 and then get 15.30, right? It's like magic. Because I got news for you guys. The client's not going to care about the $2.50 to $2 per hour. They're just not. So make yourself happy and stop wasting time complaining about the service fee, because I promise you, Upwork's going to continue to be a business and maximize their profits while attempting to be fair, of course. But this shouldn't be the thing that you concentrate on, because you're not going to be able to get clients. Your attitude's going to be bad. You got to just show up excited. Rule number uno, right? That needs to be true. So if you're complaining about making the $13.50 or whatever it is after the $1.50 is taken away, just up your price and stop ever worrying about it, and don't ever write on a forum complaining about the fee structure. Okay, I've paid more. I pay more for fee per hour than most people make per hour. Okay, and you don't see me complaining. I'm very happy that they lined up the jobs in the first place. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't be a complainer. Be someone that's getting jobs and happily paying this stuff and incorporating that into their price early on. Now, you got other stuff to worry about too as a freelancer who owns their own business, because that's what you are. You're a business owner, right? So be honest about not just being excited about the amount of money, but like, can I live on this amount of money? Because if you can't live on it, you're not going to be too excited after a while, and neither are your family members and your puppy. Well, I guess that is the family. So, all things have to exist. And if you're now saying to yourself, wow, I don't have the skills to make that much money because no one that does these skills is charging this much, then again, this is one of those conversations you have to have with yourself. Can I up my skill level? Can I be more of an expert, or can I adopt different skills that are trending right now? Okay? So you're not just this stagnant person who has only gone to school for one thing and now that's the only thing they're going to ever know for the rest of their life. We're not interested in those people in this community. We're interested in people expanding their horizons. And if you are in a niche that you're an expert in and you're kick-ass, like say like a computer engineer or an industrial designer, these people, like you can charge top dollar for the expert level stuff. We see it all the time. And so this is 10 out of 10. A few last details, then you can check and publish your profile. A professional photo helps with the trust of your clients. To keep things safe and simple, they'll pay you through us. Right. So, which is why we need your personal information. So, of course, this is something that you want to knock out of the park. I can't tell you, early on, how differentiating of a factor it was for me to have like a more professional looking style photo. And by professional, I mean, I just like threw on a suit jacket, put myself in front of like a cheap green screen and used my iPhone camera to take it with a tripod. So that's the amount of effort it would take from you to really outperform 90% of the other freelancers. And that's by doing something professional. And it can easily be done, guys. Again, most phones can take better pictures than most of the nice cameras could 8 years ago when I got started, let alone, the video is completely different. So I'm just gonna, this is fake. So I look good for my age, right? What's going on here? Okay, United States.